2 inches he actually used the heavenly beast as a treasure guardian. Xiaoyan, who was standing far away, couldn't help but feel slightly shocked when he saw the numerous Xiaoyans that had exploded. He then looked around and found it funny. This place was only a monarch emperor. There were nearly 100 of them, and there were also many emperor cultivation warriors hiding in some unknown places. These 5 high-grade heavenly beasts alone were not enough to stop so many crazy people. Bastard. King is not someone you humans can humiliate. The leading heavenly beast was called the Kanji spiritual tiger. It had once dominated this desolate land. Even the other emperor cultivations, who were also emperor cultivation experts, were extremely respectful towards it. In this place, it was the absolute king. A month ago, heaven-surmounting monarch had quietly appeared here. He had used a great method to gather these 5 heavenly beasts together. After explaining the reason, he saw that no one was cooperating with him. He forcefully suppressed the 5 heavenly beasts into the underground cave under the Chaos Blood Cliff and used a formation to seal the cave entrance. Only today did he break the formation and come out. The Kanji spiritual tiger. It roared repeatedly. Its tail was like metal as it struck downwards, causing the mountain rocks to shatter. An ordinary monarch emperor would not dare to face its sharp blade directly. After they recovered from their shock, they cried out in shock and scattered in all directions. Big brother, this place is too close to the mercenary alliance. If Li Xianfeng comes out, none of us will be able to escape. A fox-shaped heavenly beast behind the tiger spoke in a low voice. The latter had white fur all over its body, making it look elegant and noble. Its voice sounded like the spiritual voice of an empty valley, causing one's mind to be moved. Fox sister is right. However, that old fellow's actions are really too infuriating. If I don't kill a few people, it will be difficult to resolve the hatred in my heart. A huge black bear at the side spoke in a muffled voice. Although the giant bear had a simple and honest expression, its blood-red eyes revealed endless killing intent. Then kill. The Kanji spiritual tiger let out an angry roar. Without any hesitation, it instantly issued an order. Just as it finished speaking, its huge tiger claws sent a monarch emperor, who was just about to slip away, flying away. A huge force was emitted and the monarch emperor was immediately sent flying like a kite with a broken string. He violently collided with the huge rock and the sound of bones cracking could be heard. Oh woo! The huge bear let out a long howl, but its huge body did not affect its agility at all. It leapt up and extended its huge claw in a lightning-like manner. It penetrated through the heart of a monarch emperor who had no time to escape. When it pulled out its huge claw again, the monarch emperor no longer had any life left. It fell down powerlessly. In an instant, the 5 heavenly beasts displayed a frightening strength. Other than a few lucky ones who managed to escape, the rest of the monarch emperor who were attacked had lost their lives. The stars under Xiaoyan's feet flickered. In the blink of an eye, he had already left this place. He stood in the distance and quietly observed this place. There were 5 heavenly beasts blocking the entrance. Unless they were killed or chased away, no one could enter and take away the treasures. It's time for those emperor cultivation warriors to attack. Xiaoyan's face was expressionless. His eyes swept across the surroundings. Many monarch emperor warriors scattered in all directions in a miserable manner. They scrambled to avoid being killed by the 5 heavenly beasts. Their attacks were basically useless against the 5 heavenly beasts that possessed intelligence. Shui Gang's expression was fierce. He held the Ghost King's spear tightly in his hand as he stood on top of a mountain and stared at the scene. In front of these 5 heavenly beasts, he was a little afraid. Unless an emperor cultivation warrior attacked, there was nothing these people could do. Evil creature, don't be so presumptuous. Just as this thought flashed across his mind, a thunder-like furious roar came from afar, causing the 5 heavenly beasts, who were massacring, to be slightly startled. In the next moment, 2 figures tore through the air and arrived. They landed in front of the 5 heavenly beasts without any fear. The 2 of them were 2 old men. One of them was wearing a black robe and his face was pale. The other was wearing a white robe, and his face was slightly dark. It's the Yin and Yang that have lived in seclusion for many years. The 2 elders, they're actually willing to come out. These 2 are the higher-ups of the Solitary Heavens sect. I didn't think that after so many years, they would still be alive. I think these 2 have already reached the peak of the Emperor cultivation. With their cultivation techniques, as long as one of them breaks through to the monarch cultivation, the other one will also become a monarch cultivation sovereign. I'm afraid that there is only one more step left. Some of the sect leaders who had heard about these two men cried out in shock when they saw this. Xiao Yan, on the other hand, had heard all of their discussions. When he heard this, he was shocked as well. He never thought that these two men were actually from the era of the lone heavenly sovereign. It's you guys. The Kanji spiritual tiger had obviously heard about these two men before. When it saw the Yin-Yang elders, its ferocious face couldn't help but twist. Your cultivation isn't easy. If you are captured by the Mercenary Alliance, you will lose 1,000 years of cultivation base. Take advantage of the fact that they are still in the future and leave on your own. The old man in the black robe had a strange pale face. He raised his eyes and spoke in a low voice. We know why you are trapped in this place. Heaven's surmounting monarch has no other choice. Leave now, the old man in the white robe said with a smile. His face was dark, but he had a kind expression on his face. Big brother, the white fox behind the winged spirit tiger stepped forward and whispered. Next time, if you dare to provoke us again, you will definitely fight with your life on the line. Gritting his teeth, the Kanji spirit tiger roared in a low voice. Following that, the Kanji on its back shook and flew into the sky with its 4 underlings. Soon, they disappeared into the sky. It's over. With the Yin-Yang elders here, what other treasures can we obtain? Let's go. Seeing the two of them persuade the 5 heavenly beasts to leave with a few words, some monarch emperor heaved a sigh of relief in their hearts. At the same time, they felt discouraged. Their hearts were shaken, and they no longer had any fighting spirit. Strange. These two old men have never asked about the affairs of the world for many years. What kind of treasure will appear this time, and attract these two old men here? If I can obtain it. There were also people who roared in their hearts. Their ambitions grew wildly. They wanted wealth from danger. Xiao Yan muttered to himself in a low voice, and a serious look appeared in his eyes as he looked at the two elders. These two were the old members of the Lone Sky, and the Lone Sky Fist was the inheritance of a silent heavenly sovereign. Could it be that their target was also the Heavenly Fist? Swoosh! While Xiao Yan was pondering, several rushing wind sounds suddenly appeared. Everyone raised their heads and saw 6 Emperor cultivation experts flying over. The one leading them was Xu Yan, who had confronted Xiao Yan before. Swoosh! Standing on top of the mountain peak, Xu Yan stretched out his palm. A folding fan appeared in his hand, and then his cold gaze swept across the surrounding people. Finally, he looked at the Yin-Yang elders and slightly cupped his fists towards them. Then, he gave a fake smile and said, "This matter of the two elders is not very proper. The reason why this kid brought so many people here was because he wanted to collect those few heavenly beasts. The two elders actually let them go. This is clearly looking down on the Mercenary Alliance." No matter if it was his tone or expression, he didn't put the two elders in his eyes at all. Xu young master is being too serious. Besides, with just these few people behind you, I don't think they will be able to catch the heavenly beast. Instead, they will be killed by them. Black-robed old man smiled faintly. During their journey here, they had roughly understood some of the famous people in Capital of Chaos. Naturally, they also knew about this Xu Yan. That might not be the case. Xu Yan let out a cold snort. After that, he shifted his gaze to the hundreds of meters deep pit below Chaos Blood Cliff and said loudly, "Everyone, listen carefully. We can't miss out on any of the things here. They belong to Mercenary Alliance. So, I'll have to trouble you all to leave now." Xu Yan licked his lips, but he didn't look at the Monarch Emperor warriors around him. Instead, he turned his eyes to some mountains in the distance, as well as the Yin and Yang elders in front of him. 2 inches kids got a big mouth. The Yin-Yang elders smiled when they heard this. The white-robed old man circled around them and slowly said, "Aren't you afraid of offending the Capital of Chaos by saying this? The Mercenary Alliance is strong, but if they offend the public, not to mention your branch, even the headquarters of the Mercenary Alliance in Wangyang City will have to think about it carefully." As expected, the moment Xu Yan's voice faded, the faces of the surrounding people turned gloomy. A cold snort could be faintly heard from the mountain range in the distance. When some of the people who wanted to leave heard his words, a nameless fire erupted in their hearts. Instead, they steeled their resolve to stay behind. Those who were able to come here were all famous people in Capital of Chaos. Those who were able to make a name for themselves were not people who would be intimidated by just a few words from others. Old man, don't try to scare me. I have been here for a few years. I know the atmosphere of this place very well. In this place, whoever has the biggest fist will be the king. Facing the hostile gazes of many people, Xu Yan showed no signs of fear. As usual, he was calm and composed. The white folding fan in his hand was flapping gently. His white robe was fluttering in the wind, and he looked handsome and handsome. That's true. You have Li Xianfeng as your backing. No wonder you are so arrogant. Black-robed old man smiled indifferently. The words he said caused some of the people present to feel a sudden fear in their hearts. Only now did they remember who was standing behind this arrogant young man in front of them. It's good that the two elders know. Although Xu Yan could hear the sarcasm in his words, he wasn't angry. He smiled and cupped his fists at the two of them. However, he was sneering in his heart. His own strength had already surpassed his previous strength. Ever since he had refined the blood essence of the profound serene dragon snake. These days, he had already made a great breakthrough. Even if the two people in front of him suddenly launched an attack, he had full confidence that he would be able to escape. However, the thing that appeared this time is too important to the two of us. Even if Li Xianfeng's true body is here, he must take it away. Raising his eyelids, the old man's tone suddenly turned cold. An indescribable sharp killing intent was unleashed from his body. Hiss! Xiao Yan stood behind everyone. The first thing he noticed was the intensity of this killing intent. It was even stronger than the qi of Su Ziyang, who had temporarily reached the monarch cultivation with the help of the formation. If these two men used their full strength, perhaps even ordinary Xiao Yans were no match for him. Xiao Yan quietly inhaled a deep breath of air. His mind swiftly began to calculate. A trace of heaviness also surged into his heart. It seems like the two elders have lived in seclusion for too long. They have already forgotten about the scariness of their granduncle. Don't forget, even a desolate heavenly sovereign wasn't a match for him. Xu Yan's expression was also cold as he berated in a cold voice. The reason he came here this time was to borrow Li Xianfeng's reputation. He wanted to devour all of these things, especially the dragon imprisoning lock. He would never allow anyone to touch it. If he could offer up the dragon imprisoning lock, then his status in the Mercenary Alliance's headquarters would rise as well. That mysterious Lord Alliance chief. He might even be rewarded. At that time, it wouldn't be impossible for him to help him break through to the monarch cultivation sovereign realm. Therefore, this time, he didn't hesitate to offend anyone. When he heard Xu Yan mention the name of the silent heavenly sovereign, the Yin and Yang elders' expressions changed slightly. The master of this honorific title. However, the person whom they respected the most in their hearts was once again mentioned. It actually carried such a heavy sense of irony. Everyone, what are you waiting for? Could it be that you want to wait until Li Xianfeng appears before making your move? Suddenly, a gloomy voice resounded across the sky. Apparently, someone was shouting at everyone with the origin qi. Let's seize the treasure. Those who have the ability will obtain the treasure. How can you take it for yourself with just a few words? This is the capital of chaos, not your mercenary alliance. The voice immediately aroused the desire in everyone's heart. Immediately, they shouted out loudly and attacked one after another. In an instant, numerous monarch emperor rushed towards the chaos blood cliff like a swarm of locusts. The spirit weapon in their hands shone with a dazzling light, ready to unleash a deadly attack at any time. Damn it! Xu Yan's facial expression changed when he saw this. Only now did he realize that he had underestimated the ambitions of this group of people. In front of the treasures that had taken up nearly half of the Dark Nether, with Li Xianfeng's name, he really couldn't intimidate this group of desperate people. Young master, it's better to retreat first. A fat bald man behind Xu Yan spoke immediately. His tiny eyes sparkled with a cunning light. Let's go. Xu Yan wasn't an idiot. Although they had 7 Emperor cultivation warriors on their side, they didn't have much of an advantage in this situation. The only thing they could do was to divert their attention. It would be much easier for them to attack next. Although everyone was angry at Xu Yan and his group, the latter group was too powerful. Naturally, no one would foolishly stop them from leaving. After a short period of chaos, everyone turned their eyes to the ground below Chaos Blood Cliff. After the 5 heavenly beasts rushed out, a hundreds of feet deep pit was formed. The deep pit was bottomless. No one knew what kind of trick it contained. Xiao Yan mixed in the crowd. He glanced at Xu Yan's group, who were far away, before turning his gaze towards the huge crater below. He could not help but feel a wave of shock in his heart. The monarch cultivation sovereign's technique was actually so powerful. In such a short period of time, it had created such a large spatial zone under the chaos blood cliff. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. After forcing Xu Yan's group back, some people could no longer suppress the commotion in their hearts. The origin chi within their bodies surged out to protect their bodies as they flew towards the huge pit below. Nearly half of the treasures of the black underworld were in this place. This temptation was really too great. Under the lead of the first few people, an increasing number of people could no longer endure it. All of them moved and rushed downwards. The enormous pit was like a devil with its mouth wide open as it swallowed one expert after another. The remaining people waited for a moment. When they saw that nothing unusual had happened, their faces were filled with joy as they landed. They tightly gripped the spirit weapon in their hands. Everyone knew that as long as one stepped into it, there would be a bloody battle. Only those who survived would have the qualifications to touch the treasure within it. Let's go. That thing must be obtained. The white-robed old man nodded faintly. His body moved like a white lightning, instantly breaking through the dense human flow and entering the huge pit in the blink of an eye. Black-robed old man was just like the former's shadow. He followed close behind at almost the same time. He did not show any signs of slowing down. Boom! 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 Not long after the Yin-Yang elders entered, a few shocking auras suddenly rose from the mountain range in the distance. They were like numerous shocking torrents that rushed into the mountain range. Xiao Yan didn't hesitate any longer. The starlight under his feet secretly flickered, and under the circumstances that no one noticed, he flew away at high speed. The numerous monarch emperor merely felt a breeze pass by their ears, but they didn't notice it at all. A turtle in a jar. Looking at the people who had entered the giant pit one after another, Xu Yan, who was standing far away, sneered. His smile was filled with a ferociousness that could make people tremble in fear. In the blink of an eye, darkness flashed in front of his eyes. When Xiao Yan landed steadily on the ground, his eyes swept across the surroundings, and he was instantly shocked by the underground layout in front of him. The place he was standing on was a huge desert plain. Although it was called a plain, it was like a square surrounded by sand. It was round in all four directions. There were 4 dark tunnels leading up to an unknown place. Layers of rocks were embedded in the sand, giving people a sense of pressure. Even though they were underground, this place was still as bright as day. However, there was a strange blood-red color in the daytime. After taking a few glances at the layout of the place, Xiao Yan did not stay any longer. After hesitating for a moment, he rushed towards the tunnel in front of him. As expected, when more and more people saw this scene, they were startled. Immediately, they began to react. With greed in their eyes, they rushed towards the designated passageway. No one had expected that there would be such a magical world underneath the Chaos Blood Cliff. There must be more treasures in there than the rumors. An emperor cultivation tomb can have such a scale. With heaven surmounting monarch's strength, it's not impossible for him to build such a huge structure underground. Xiao Yan's body moved like the wind. Hundreds of miles of distance passed by in an instant. His mind was filled with thoughts. For some unknown reason, when he saw such a vast treasure ground, some worry faintly surfaced in his heart. However, he could only try his best to convince himself. Young master, why don't we block the entrance and kill whoever comes out and snatch the treasure? What do you think? In the blink of an eye, more than half of the people had gone in. A yellow-robed elder behind Xu Yan suddenly spoke in a low voice. Xu Yan's voice was deep for a long time, but he still shook his head and said, "When I came here, Uncle Li told me privately that there are some strange things in Chaos Blood Cliff. There is nothing wrong with it for a short period of time. If I stay here for a long period of time, something strange might happen, so I have to be careful. So, this matter won't work. Hall Master Lu's words are indeed unacceptable. With our lineup, we will naturally be able to enter the Chaos Blood Cliff openly, as long as we don't meet the Yin and Yang elders. Who can't deal with them? At that time, if we meet someone who has obtained a treasure, we can just snatch it over." The bald old man who had spoken earlier smiled indifferently, his tone arrogant. "You're right, perhaps we don't even need Granduncle to take action." Xu Yan gently licked his lips. The cold light in his eyes suddenly solidified. With a shout, the few of them turned into several white lights and rushed into the huge cave below the Chaos Blood Cliff. In just a moment, everyone who came here had entered the cave without exception. The mountain range suddenly became quiet. After an unknown period of time, a drop of blood that was not too pure fell from the Chaos Blood Cliff. The drop of blood fell straight into the cave without any deviation. It actually did not merge with the ground, as if it had a spirit of its own as it bounced up from the yellow sand plains below the cave. Like a bloodthirsty lion smelling food, it came to the side of a dying monarch emperor. Because the latter had just entered this place, he had encountered his enemies and was besieged by them. He died instantly. This strange drop of blood slowly flowed along the blood that flowed out of the former. As it bathed in the warm blood, it actually emitted a vicious laughter that caused one's hair to stand on end. Swoosh! After a moment, this monarch emperor middle-aged man who had just died suddenly moved. Then, he suddenly stood up from the ground. His face was extremely stiff, and his eyes were devoid of any luster. Only 2 drops of strange blood were circulating in his eyes. Sizzle! The middle-aged man said some strange words. His body turned stiffly, and he staggered towards a tunnel not far away. Through the deep tunnel, what appeared in front of Xiao Yan was a narrow alley. It was formed by countless small rooms. If one looked carefully, these rooms were all built from sand. No one knew how many years had passed, but the sand had been corroded by it. Xiao Yan narrowed his eyes and looked into the distance. Numerous people were crazily rushing towards each of the rooms. They wanted to obtain the treasures of the Black Underworld group before anyone else, but they were all disappointed. After which, they once again rushed towards the next room with bloodshot eyes. They occasionally saw some Qi method scrolls, and a great battle was unavoidable. Xiao Yan pursed his lips. Some confusion flashed across his eyes. There was not a trace of accurate information. Such a large place, where was he going to find the Heavenly Fist? There are a few Emperor cultivation mighty warriors ahead of us, and they are protected by some kind of mechanism. Who knows, there might be a treasure appearing in this place. All of a sudden, a loud shout sounded out from afar, attracting everyone's attention. Some monarch emperor warriors who were still searching for the treasure immediately gave up on the search and rushed forward. Although there were a lot of rooms in this place, there were very few places where treasures could be found. Even if there were a few incomplete spirit weapons, they wouldn't be interested in them. A few of the people who were fighting because of a few monarch spell also withdrew their hands. They vigilantly glanced at each other before leaving. It wasn't wise to waste time here just for a few monarch spell scrolls. Xiao Yan was secretly delighted in his heart. When most of the people had left and were about to leave, a fierce look suddenly flashed across his eyes. His body flashed and he hid behind a house. Swoosh! In the next moment, a black figure suddenly rushed out from a distance and rushed towards a room. His body was extremely light and he did not make the slightest sound. Xiao Yan fixed his eyes on it. When he saw the appearance of the black shadow, his heart couldn't help but tremble. The latter was a monarch emperor who had participated in the siege against him and Mu Yuyang. His name was Wan Laoshan, and he was a cunning man. After witnessing the strength of Lin Dao and Wu Shaoqi, he was the first one to leave. This had left a deep impression on Xiao Yan. This old fellow seems to have walked out of that room with disappointment just now. Xiao Yan gently smiled. He was not in a hurry to leave. His body flashed. He moved forward like a ghost. His qi was retracted, but it didn't leak out from his body. He quietly arrived at the room where Wan Laoshan had entered. The room was not big. Xiao Yan stood at the door and saw Wan Laoshan dig out a black iron box from the sand. The iron box was made of a special material. It was crystal clear and seemed to be full of spirituality. As soon as he took out the box, Wan Laoshan's expression suddenly changed. He looked behind him and saw Xiao Yan, who was leaning against the door, looking at him. Boom! Wan Laoshan's face was ashen. He had never thought that someone would appear behind him without him noticing. He had been too careless. With this thought in mind, he threw out a punch. His qi soared into the sky and rolled up layers of sand, then he threw it at Xiao Yan with an irresistible force. Xiao Yan furrowed his brows and revealed a surprised expression. This old man's strength had actually reached the peak of Monarch Emperor. Bang! Xiao Yan didn't move at all. He flipped his palm and easily blocked Wan Laoshan's punch. The origin qi in his body surged and quietly dissolved the force. Who are you? I have been roaming the capital of chaos for dozens of years, why haven't I seen you before? Xiao Yan easily locked his fist, causing Wan Laoshan to have an ugly expression on his face as he spoke in a deep voice. You have never seen so many of them. Xiao Yan sneered. With a flip of his wrist, a huge force came. Wan Laoshan took a few steps back and almost fell to the ground. What is in this box? Xiao Yan looked at the black metal box and asked with interest. Wan Laoshan's expression became bitter when he heard this. He was silent for a moment before he said with a black face, It is a dragon beard azure spirit ginseng. Quote, 1-inch dragon beard azure spirit ginseng? Upon hearing this, Xiao Yan muttered to himself as he spoke softly. Immediately, his face lit up with joy. His gaze when looking at Wan Laoshan was filled with a meaningful smile. What a good thing. You can leave now. Dragon beard azure spirit ginseng. It was rumored that the dragon beard of the Azure Dragon was formed when it fell into the remote mountains that contained rich spiritual energy. What was different from other herbs was that the dragon beard Azure Spirit Ginseng could be eaten raw. It had a great effect on the final fusion of the origin chains in one's body. In other words, for peak of monarch emperor warriors. However, it was a treasure that could be exchanged for anything. It was at its peak, and it wanted to take another step forward. This process was filled with layers upon layers of difficulties. As for the dragon beard Azure Spirit Ginseng, it greatly reduced the difficulty. Such a thing caused a huge stir in the outside world. It wasn't much weaker than the appearance of any powerful monarch arts. Sir, you've gone too far, haven't you? No matter what, the dragon beard Azure Spirit Ginseng was discovered by me. I'm sure you know the value of this thing. With just a single word from you, you want me to leave? Wan Laoshan straightened his body and took a deep breath. His expression was ugly. There was a trace of madness in his eyes as he looked at Xiao Yan. He had been standing at the peak of the monarch emperor for a few years. The dragon beard Azure Spirit Ginseng was an opportunity for him. He had to get it no matter what, no matter how big of a price he had to pay. Xiao Yan gave a noncommittal smile. In his heart, he was still brooding over this old man's attempt to kill him and Mu Yuyang. Ka! Suddenly, Wan Laoshan attacked with a loud bang. The golden origin qi in his palms surged out in a spiraling manner, forming several golden chains. The chains struck the space and rushed over, trapping Xiao Yan in an instant. After which, they carried an aura that caused one's hair to stand on end as they struck towards the latter's head. They were swift and fierce killing moves the moment they attacked. Xiao Yan's eyes stood erect. A bright light surged within his eyes. Both of his hands were suddenly extended. As the crimson gold flame curled around him, he forcefully peeled off the golden chains that were trapping him. After which, his 5 fingers suddenly tightened under Wan Laoshan's stunned expression. The chains were actually directly crushed, turning into rolling origin qi that shook. Swoosh! The few golden chains that were smashing towards Xiao Yan's head also broke apart inch by inch along with the shattering of the other chains, and emitted a mournful buzzing sound. Thump, thump, thump. The killing blow was easily neutralized by Xiao Yan. Wan Laoshan's body trembled, and the origin qi struck him backwards. He couldn't help but take a few steps back. His qi and blood churned, and a mouthful of blood rushed to his throat. He forcefully swallowed it. Xiao Yan looked at the former with a smile that wasn't a smile. He then stepped forward. The flame in his hand curled up, and he opened the iron box. There was a layer of origin qi barrier inside the iron box. Under the barrier, it was a green ginseng that was as thick as a baby's arm. The lower part of the ginseng had several thin roots in the shape of whiskers. They were like dragon beards, even though they were separated by the origin qi barrier. He could still feel the vigorous life force emitted from the dragon beard Azure Spirit Ginseng. Xiao Yan's finger gently touched the origin qi's barrier. A sharp pain was transmitted over quickly. As Xiao Yan's finger twisted, the pain disappeared completely. On the other hand, the origin qi's barrier was overflowing with spiritual light, and it was filled with powerful lethality. Xiao Yan laughed softly. No wonder this fellow did not take the dragon beard Azure Spirit Ginseng away on the spot. It turned out that there was still this origin qi barrier blocking his path. Even if it was the monarch emperor level expert, it would take some effort to break through this barrier. It was because of this origin qi barrier that even if one kept the storage ring, it would create a sound. Under the circumstances of so many people just now, it was indeed a good idea to hide it. Could it be that you are an Emperor Cultivation Almighty? The Dragonbeard Azure Spirit Ginseng is only useful for those below the Emperor Cultivation to break through to the peak. It's useless even if you take it away from me. I am willing to give everything I have to exchange with you. After witnessing Xiao Yan's strength, Wan Laoshan didn't dare to make any rash moves. He gritted his teeth and spoke in a low voice. What do you want in exchange? Xiao Yan thought for a while and said casually. He began to make plans in his heart, whether it was himself, Xuan or the others. If he wanted to break through to the peak of Monarch Emperor, he would need to go through the heart flame burning. The most effective way was to use the essence protecting pill, and that Emperor Cultivation Senior's understanding of the heart flame burning. As for the Dragonbeard Azure Spirit Ginseng, to them, it could only play a supporting role, as it could help them resist the heart flame burning. It was almost useless, because to the fighting monarch in the lower realm, in the peak of Monarch Emperor, as long as he could withstand the heart flame burning, he would definitely advance to the Emperor Cultivation. Thinking of this, the value of the Dragonbeard Azure Spirit Ginseng had become much smaller in Xiao Yan's eyes. However, although it would not be of much help to them, it could be used to win over people's hearts or do other things. It would be extremely beneficial. The Dragonbeard Azure Spirit Ginseng in front of them was the size of a baby's arm. A person only needed a finger joint to reach it. If he used it well, it would be enough for at least 100 people. 100 million Monarch Crystals, or a scroll of low-grade Monarch Arts, how about it? Wan Laoshan swallowed his saliva, his voice was somewhat hoarse. He was considered a first-order rogue cultivator in the capital of chaos, and he didn't join any of the gangs. Even if he was a peak of Monarch Emperor, these things had already made his heart ache. What are you thinking about? You want me to choose one? Even if you bring 2 of them together, I won't be interested in them. Xiao Yan couldn't help but laugh when he heard this. His 5 fingers moved lightly on the origin chi barrier in the metal box, slowly consuming the origin chi within. 100 million Monarch Crystals sounded like a lot. After all, he had spent a lot of effort in order to obtain 10 million Monarch Crystals. But now, it was a different story. This was the capital of chaos. With his strength, he only needed to break into a few gangs. It was easy for him to get the Monarch Crystal, but the Monarch Arts. What was even more ridiculous was that he was currently cultivating the 4-Spirit Emperor technique. The Monarch skill was more than enough for him to learn, let alone a low-grade Monarch Arts. Even if it was a high-grade Monarch Arts, he wouldn't care about it. Then what do you want? Wan Laoshan's eyes widened. He was a little angry and helpless. How about this? I can give you 1 piece, but you have to listen to me in the process. Xiao Yan carefully took out the Dragonbeard Azure Spirit Ginseng from the metal box. He raised his head and looked at Wan Laoshan as he said faintly, "What are you doing?" Wan Laoshan was slightly shocked when he heard this. He straightened his body and looked at Xiao Yan suspiciously. "This. I don't know the details yet." Xiao Yan shook his head. His expression started to become serious. He looked at Wan Laoshan and a trace of cold killing intent flashed across his eyes. "If you agree, I will naturally give you 1 piece. If you don't agree, I can kill you now. You decide." Wan Laoshan's heart suddenly shook. He looked at Xiao Yan with a gloomy expression. He was silent for a long time before he finally nodded with difficulty. "All right, I will listen to you. However, don't think that you will let me be your cannon fodder. Otherwise, even if I die, you won't be able to feel good about it." His tone was cold, showing his incomparable determination. "Of course, but if you want to be obedient, you have to be more obedient. Don't even think about making any small movements." Xiao Yan smiled. He put away the Dragonbeard Azure Spirit Ginseng and roughly swept his surroundings. His body moved and rushed into the distance. Wan Laoshan had an ugly expression on his face behind him. However, he had no choice but to follow. Yunluo Academy. Heaven-surmounting monarch stood on the heaven pillar peak with a far-reaching gaze. It was a long while later before he let out a soft laugh and clapped his hands. "The treasure has been opened. There are still many people who have gone. There will be a good show to watch now." In the distance, a large man was quietly sitting cross-legged. He was wearing a red robe and had sword-like eyebrows and bright eyes. He was Profound Emperor, who had just finished refining the spirit weapon. "Chaos Blood Cliff. You actually hid it in that dangerous place. If those people were to die, wouldn't it still disrupt the order of chaos? Profound Emperor sighed lightly, his expression was slightly heavy. Although that cliff was stained with the blood of sinners, after so many years, it has long been unable to gather into a single drop of blood. That kind of thing will never appear. Heaven's surmounting monarch's eyebrows twitched, and his smile was calm. Behind the layers of houses is a vast plain of sand, beating on the face, bringing pain, and the red light comes out of nowhere, and it's hard to tell where it's coming from. The entire underground world was filled with a mysterious and strange feeling. What is that thing? From afar, Xiao Yan could see a huge dragon that was 1,000 feet in size emerging from the abyss at the end of the plain, blocking dozens of people from advancing. The huge dragon had 9 heads. Its appearance was different, and its expression was ferocious. There seemed to be a spring attached to its neck, and it could actually stretch out for hundreds of meters. Its fangs were sharp, and it spat out water, fire, and lightning from its mouth. A monarch emperor was slightly careless, and he was torn into 2 halves. That's not a heavenly beast. I can't sense any aura from it. Could it be a puppet? Xiao Yan was shocked in his heart. His footsteps were quick as he quickly arrived near the deep abyss. Hiss! The huge dragon's huge body was floating in the abyss. On its 9 heads, there was a fierce look in its eyes. Its movements looked stiff, but its speed was not slow at all. It was unusually fierce. Everyone had already exchanged blows with it for a moment. Other than the few corpses on the ground, the giant dragon did not seem to have suffered any injuries. How can this vile creature's skin be so hard? What kind of attack is useless on its body? Can it feel any pain? In the crowd, a monarch emperor-level expert with a face full of scars roared furiously. The muscles on its body bulged, and it held a green iron saber tightly in its hand. The metal saber was also refined from the same grade of materials. The edge of the saber was sharp, and it brought along a gust of cold air out of nowhere. "My lords, I hope you can help me." After a moment of silence, a thin man suddenly spoke. He cupped his hands in a certain direction and spoke with a sincere tone. As soon as the words left his mouth, there was a commotion in the crowd. Then, everyone said in unison, "Please help us." Xiao Yan narrowed his eyes and looked around. Around them stood a mighty figure with a long and powerful aura. All of them were Emperor cultivation warriors without a doubt. In the previous battle, all of them had ulterior motives and did not attack. "Guys, if we don't attack now, all of our brothers will die. What are you hesitating for?" A vigorous and imposing voice slowly sounded out. The qi contained within it was so strong that even Xiao Yan couldn't help but raise his brows. The hidden meaning behind the former's words was also understood by the other Emperor cultivation. If these people died, no one would be their cannon fodder if anything happened to them in the future. Since that's the case, we'll attack together. Whoever dares to launch a sneak attack, don't blame this old man for being ruthless. A moment later, another calm voice resounded in everyone's ears. Its aura was so majestic that it far surpassed the previous one. "We will listen to Elder Song." As soon as the words left his mouth, 4 shocking auras shot up into the sky. Like shooting stars chasing after the moon, they stopped in the sky in front of everyone. The 9 gigantic dragons seemed to have sensed the terrifying auras of the 4 of them, and their huge bodies twisted. Their roars became even louder. This should be a long-lost mechanism creation. I didn't expect its strength to be so terrifying. The wisdom of the ancient people is indeed endless. The first Emperor cultivation who spoke was a middle-aged man with white sideburns. He was wearing a purple robe and looked elegant. Clearly, he had been in a high position for a long time. From Wan Laoshan's mouth, Xiao Yan knew the name of the former. Yuan Tongtian was a high-ranking official of the Profound Sovereign Sect. After that, he left the Profound Sovereign Sect for some unknown reason. Currently, he was in charge of the largest trading company in Capital of Chaos and was considered to be very famous. Big Brother Yuan is worthy of being called a great figure who followed Profound Emperor. He even knows about this kind of thing. A woman in a green dress with a slightly enchanting bearing smiled. Her beautiful peach blossom eyes blinked at the former, giving off a flirtatious feeling in her heart. "Cut the crap, attack." The old man who was previously called Elder Song was skinny. His beard was snow white, but his face was ruddy like a child's. When he heard the woman's mocking words, he immediately let out a cold shout, causing everyone's spirits to be shaken. "Oh woo, The 9 huge dragons were the first to be unable to restrain themselves. Their huge bodies twisted and produced crackling sounds. The 9 heads displayed their might at the same time. In an instant, wind and lightning collided. Blazing flames mixed with wild gales. Thunder and lightning were furious. Mist filled the air and poured down toward the few people below. This kind of mechanism and creation all have the energy core that maintains the original body. As long as we destroy them, this fellow will be crippled. Yuan Tongtian let out a stern shout and reminded everyone. He turned around and unleashed a purple spiritual light. He easily dodged the rumbling thunder and turned his palm into a sharp blade. The sound of the air being torn apart was deafening, and it was aimed at one of the necks. Energy core? Xiao Yan stood in the distance and frowned slightly. Why did it have the same principle as the formation? There was also a type of core that maintained it. Looking at the 4 Emperor cultivation warriors attacking the 9 dragons, Xiao Yan casually came to an inconspicuous place and started communicating with the Xiao Ao. Mechanical creations are considered a kind of unorthodox way of cultivating origin cheese. In ancient times, there were many people who were unable to cultivate due to various reasons. They developed a weapon similar to a puppet called mechanical creation. They used a special ability to control the mechanical creation, and thus possessed great power. Unfortunately, this method was ultimately borrowed from external objects, so it was quickly eliminated by history. In the current great world, I don't think there's a single sect that has been passed down. The Xiao Ao sighed slightly, its tone filled with regret. Xiao Yan nodded his head slightly. Borrowing the power of external objects would not work in the end. Although the mechanism was comparable to an emperor cultivation, in the end, it was just a puppet, and he was still too weak. With the help of 4 emperor cultivation warriors, although the 9 dragons didn't know how to feel pain, their 9 heads were almost ripped off. Their huge bodies were rotating stiffly, but they couldn't cause any big waves. Soon, they sank into the abyss, and there was no movement at all. I think it has been too long, and there isn't much energy left in the energy core. Otherwise, with just 4 Emperor Cultivation warriors, we could barely fight against an Emperor Cultivation level mechanical creation. The Xiao Ao pouted. He mumbled to himself. It really took a lot of effort. The green-clothed lady, who had spoken earlier, gently waved her hand and gently wiped off her clothes. The traces that had appeared because of the great battle earlier had automatically disappeared and were restored to their original state. Let's go. A bright light flickered in Yuan Tongtian's tiger eyes as he looked at the deep abyss in front of him. Due to the fall of the 9 huge dragons, the chain bridge behind him was also revealed in front of everyone. The iron bridge spanned across the deep abyss, and no one could see the end of it. No one knew where it led to. Swoosh, swoosh. After the 4 Emperor cultivation left, the many Monarch Emperor level expert could not resist the greed in their hearts. They rushed forward. Some people also looked down from the side of the deep abyss. The bottom of the abyss was completely black. No one knew how deep it was. After hesitating for a moment, they ultimately did not have the courage to go down. They clenched their teeth and followed everyone forward. Xiao Yan, find an opportunity to go down. Collect that mechanism creation and go back to study it properly. The Xiao Ao's voice appeared in Xiao Yan's mind, filled with joy. Xiao Yan frowned. He also looked down at the bottom of the abyss. There wasn't even a ray of light there. Who knew how many Gundams there were, and who knew how dangerous it was down there? If he just went down there recklessly, wouldn't he be a bit reckless? Seeing that most of the people had left, and only a few were left, Xiao Yan pondered for a moment, then slowly turned his eyes to Wan Laoshan, who was standing beside him. I don't want to go down. Who knows what's down there? Wan Laoshan was shocked when he saw Xiao Yan's eyes. He seemed to have guessed what Xiao Yan was thinking and said in a hoarse voice. I didn't plan to let you go down. Guard here. Don't even think about getting the Dragon-Beard Azure Spirit Ginseng if you come down alone. Xiao Yan snorted coldly and took a deep breath. Taking advantage of the fact that no one noticed him, he jumped down into the abyss. Wan Laoshan was startled by Xiao Yan's sudden movement. He stared at the place where Xiao Yan went down with his mouth wide open. Immediately, he quivered and quickly came back to his senses. With a flash, he arrived on the iron bridge and looked around coldly to prevent anyone from going down.